All right, so number 3 is a little word problem. You can already kind of see with the 10th week and all that stuff, we're probably dealing with a sequence and series question. So we have Natalia and Matteo. They're both training for a half marathon that is in 10 weeks. During the first week, Natalia runs 6 miles and will increase by 1 mile per week. Matteo will also run 6 miles, but will increase his distance by 10% each week. And this says, make sure you use the appropriate formulas for full points. So even if I have something here that tells me I need to use formulas, the first thing I do is probably start just making a table so that I can understand what the heck's going on. So we know we're going to have multiple weeks of training, and we're going to have Natalia and Matteo, right? Week 1, they're both going to run 6 miles. Week 2, Natalia is going to increase by 1 mile. So she's going to be running 7, 3 is 8, 4 is 9. We could easily work our way to week 10 to figure out how much she runs in week 10. But it does say to make sure you use the appropriate formulas for full points. So right now, I'm already feeling good about Natalia. I see the pattern. We're adding 1 each time. This is an arithmetic. And we know that the arithmetic formula is the first term, right? So, and killed ourselves in terms of space. The first term, which is 6, plus n minus 1 times our common difference, which is 1 here. So the first term was 6, and then we had a common difference of 1. In fact, actually, I'll make that common difference in red so we can see that it's coming from this little plus 1 that we're doing. And we want to know about the 10th week. So we're going to take and plug in 6 plus 10 minus 1 times 1, which is going to be 6 plus 9, which is going to be 15 miles. This is Natalia. So obviously it would have been super easy to get here with the table, but now I made sure I've got full points because I showed that I could use that formula, right? Now Matteo is going to be the harder of the two here because Matteo is doing a percent increase, and we've had a lot of struggles with our percent increase problems. So if you remember this, this is when we're going to make our R equal to 1.1, right? The 1 plus our rate increase per month. That's our multiplier. If we don't, then we're actually going to start doing some work here. We're going to sit there and go, okay, so it's first week, 6 miles, and then we're going to add 10%. Let's see if I can get this to focus again because it looks like crap. 6. Oh, I've turned on the wrong light. Anyways, oops. Yes, I had the wrong light on the whole time. So we have 6 times 0.1, and we add that to the 6. We can see his next time is 6.6. Multiply that by 0.1, add that back to the 6.6. Now he's at 7.26. We could do this again and again, right? We could basically figure out what 10% of this thing is and add it to what it was. And we could keep playing this game. But this is going to get real old real fast, and so that's why we need to be able to recognize that each time what we're doing, instead of adding 10%, we can multiply by 1.1. Ugh, I don't like that. You can't see the times symbol. So we have this times 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1. And remember, if you're not sure, you can always find your ratio by taking any term and dividing by the term before it. This will work no matter what. So if you've built this up, you should be able to verify that your common ratio is 1.1. So now that we've got that, we can come back over here and say, okay, Matteo, he is dealing with a geometric because we're multiplying by the same thing each time. So for Matteo, I'm going to go ahead and do AN is equal to the first term, which is that 6, times our R, which we said was 1.1. My decimals are looking real crappy. You can barely make them out in the video. And this is all to the n minus 1. And just like before, we're trying to figure this out for the 10th one. So we're going to plug in that, type it in my calculator. 6 times 1.1 to the 10 minus 1. 14.15 miles. So again, I could have found it with the table, but now I've got full points. All right. Now, the last question says, how many total miles will each run during the 10 weeks of training? Since we're asking for total miles, we're asking for our SN. So this is another formula. But again, we just need to realize that Natalia was arithmetic and Mateo was geometric. And then we can use our formulas. The arithmetic formula is SN is equal to N, A1 plus AN all over 2. So for Natalia, her first, her N, we're both looking for 10, right? So 10. First week was 6. Last week we just found was 15, all over 2. I'm going to use a big S fraction, 10, 6 plus 15 over 2. 105 miles. That's how far she will have run in 10 weeks of training. Now, Mateo, he's geometric, and our formula for geometric is SN is equal to A1, 1 minus R to the N, all over 1 minus R. So, plugging and chugging into this, the first term is still 6. 1 minus, we figured out R was 1.1. I'm going to raise that to the 10, all over 1 minus 1.1. So again, I'm going to type all that into my calculator. I'm going to use a big fraction symbol so I can make it look exactly the same. 1 minus 1.1 to the 10, and all over 1 minus 1.1. 95.62. And then we get a last little question, which is just sort of silly. Who ran more? And we can see Natalia. She ran more. She ran almost 10 miles more than Mateo in training for this race. So hopefully we feel really good at a question like this being on the exam, because this is doing both the arithmetic and the geometric. It's having us do both the sequences and the series. So it's doing like quadruple duty. So it is very likely you'll see an exam question very similar to this on Monday.